A warm good morning, students. Welcome to VAYU News Analysis of 3rd July. So, let's get into today's articles. So, the first article, what we are going to see in today's session is that relations between India and Japan on the occasion of visit of Japanese Prime Minister to India. So, before going to understand this particular article, we need to have basic knowledge on historical relationships between India and Japan. So, between India and Japan, what are various historical relationships that we must be seen that. So, first and foremost, the relationship or the relations between India and Japan occur majorly in the era of Buddhism. So, Buddhism is acting as a future that is connecting both India and the Japan. Why? Because Buddhism has spread from India. So, it has spread from India to China and from there to Japan. So, Buddhism is the soul of joining action between India and Japan. Along with this, the visit of Bodhisena. So, the visit of Bodhisena for opening of Buddhist temple in Japan also highlights the particular relationship between both the countries. And along with these two things, Buddhism also connected to India with respect to various fronts. Let's say, for example, the ideologies of India and Japan also has a similar manner with respect to work ethics. Transitioning this into next level, the relationship between India and Japan grew when Rabindranath Tagore visited Japan. Later, it was intensified by visit of Swami Vivekananda on his Chicago travel So, Swami Vivekananda also visited Japan while his visit to Chicago. So, he praised about the cleanliness and also discipline among the various students and also people of the Japan. This has been transitioned into next level in the year 1949, where Indira Gandhi has presented a small gift called Indira on the occasion of in order to make the Japanese to overcome against the clutches and trauma of the World War II. And this has been transitioned in the year 2000, where visit of Japanese PM has been taken place, and this has been taken to the next level in 2007, where they both agreed in order to participate in a global partnership. So, this is how you need to mention about the history of India and Japan relationships since ages. Now, the thing is that along with this, India and Japan are also part of various things where India has conducted 2+2 meeting with Japan. Along with this, both India and Japan exercise some type of drills. Let's say, for example, in the army, they both armies of both countries conduct Dharma Guardian exercise. And the Air Force of both the countries jointly conduct Veer Guardian. Dharma Guardian and the Veer Guardian. And along with this, the naval counterparts of both the countries conduct GIMEX exercise. So, this is how the relationship between India and Japan are being advancing. And not only this, there exists relationship between both the countries with respect to supply chain in order to overcome the supply chain disruptions. This is how whenever any article or any question has came on India-Japan relationships, you need to have this particular background knowledge. This is what. Now, let's get into this particular article. Now, this particular article is focusing upon the relationship between India and Japan with respect to Indo-Pacific Initiative. So, here you need to highlight the words like where free Indo and open Indo-Pacific, free and open Indo-Pacific has been emphasized along with the need for strategic cooperation. So, both the countries, since they share the similar ideologies, they need strategic cooperation between both the countries, where here you need to highlight some of the important thing what our Prime Minister has been articulated is that India's emphasis on ocean as a shared space. So, our Prime Minister has quoted ocean as a shared space. So, ocean is acting as a shared space in between relations between the both the countries. Now, the major thing what you need to understand is that how these both countries are aligning with each other with respect to maritime security and the regional peace. This is what you need to understand from this particular article, along with understanding the historical relationships and the type of exercises that is happening between the both the countries. You also highlight in your answer writing with respect to development of maritime relationship and also usage of ocean as a shared space between both the countries. So, both the countries will project the shared space, ocean as a shared space. This is what you need to learn from this particular article. Now, what we should do in the prelims point of view. So, in the prelims point of view, what you need to understand is that you need to have knowledge on various exercises that is being conducted between both the countries. As I already told you, GIMEX, Dharma Guardian and the Veer Guardian. So, you need to understand what are different exercises and in which groupings are both India and Japan are part of. So, they both are part of the Quad. Okay. Now, this is what is important in the prelims point of view. Also, in the prelims point of view, you should understand what are the border countries. What are the border countries surrounding the Japan, and also what are the issues, like at what issues or what maritime issues are there between Japan and the border countries like Korea, China. All these things you need to study from the prelims point of view. Okay, so this is what you need to understand from prelims point of view. Now, in the mains point of view, first thing what you need to understand is the historical relationship since the ages of Buddhism that I have already told you, and also you need to enhance your answer writing by mentioning about the visit of Japanese PM and also a relationship with respect to Quad and also 2+2 dialogue and Indo-Pacific Ocean Initiative and ocean as a shared space among both the countries. So, you need to highlight these particular points in your answer writing. Now, how can we add this article with respect to ethics point of view? In the GS4, in ethics point of view, we can highlight this article by mentioning about the various work ethics and also discipline, various work ethics and also discipline among the people of the Japanese, how they value work and how they have grown in ethically good way by mentioning about these kinds of important words related to work ethics of the Japan. So, this is what you need to understand from this particular article. And along with that, it is also highlighting about the investment that Japan is going to do, like $1 trillion investment that Japan is going to do in India, especially with the states of Gujarat, Northeast and also Haryana, Punjab. So this north belt where Japan is going to invest in India. And along with this, you also need to highlight the relationship. Yesterday has, now if we see the next article, it mentions about the India and Japanese PMs, they are about to inaugurate Maruti Suzuki's 4th plant. So this article is also continuation of this, where mentioning about the Maruti Suzuki's 4th plant launch in the India. Maruti Suzuki's 4th plant launch in the India, along with their partnership in investment on Africa. Investment in the Africa. So this is how you need to have overview or a glimpse with respect to India and the Japan relationships in the prelims perspective and also in the mains perspective. Now let's get into next article. So the next article for today is Railways sees 4% growth in the freight. Now, in order to understand this concept, you need to have broad overview on operation and also the problems or the challenges that is being faced by the railways and the solutions. The first and foremost thing what you need to understand is that Indian railways contribute around 1% to GDP of India. This is direct contribution to GDP of India. But whereas the indirect contribution is around 3 to 4% of GDP. So 3 to 4% of GDP is the indirect contribution of railways to India's GDP. Now, this is acting as a source of employment to lakhs of people. And since railways is the cheapest mode of transport and which is suitable for all sections of the society equally, and along with this, these railways acting as major freight transport corridors. So normally railways is used for bulk transport of the goods. Why? Because it is one of the cheapest way of transport of the goods. This is how the significance of railways with respect to economic of the country and also with respect to common man. Now, this is the significance of railways and these are the values. And while coming to revenue generated from the railways, around 65% of revenue that is being generated from the railways is because of the transport of the freight. So, railways is used for both passenger transport and also freight transport. And in that, 65% of revenue is because of the freight transport. Now, this is the basics what you need to understand. Now, before going to the article, we need to understand the problems that are being faced by the Indian Railways with respect to this particular article is that the cost of freight transport has increased. Why? Because in order to make railways accessible and cheapest way of transport for many number of passengers, they have the government has increased the cost on the freight. So the cost of transport of the freight has been increased with respect to railways. Along with that, because of the overcrowding, means there are same tracks for both the development of and transport of railways, freight and also passengers. So the issue of the tracks and which is leading to overcrowding. And one more issue is that frequent derailing is also causing accidents. It's also causing accidents. And same trains are being used for transport of the freight. So these are the common problems where railways are getting suffered from. Now the thing is that we need to write about proper solutions. The first and foremost thing how we can improve the efficiency of railways is that development of dedicated freight corridors. So there should be some corridors which actually especially works for transport of the freight between the different places. So dedicated freight corridors. And here we also need to highlight one problem of emission of greenhouse gases from the railways were harm to the climate. So for that we need to shift to complete electrification of the railways mostly. And in order to solve this problem of derailing, what we need to understand is that government has developed one of the solution called Kavach. So Kavach is nothing but anti-braking system. So that consists of proper signaling with respect to AI in order to prevent the accidents. Now, you need to have basic knowledge about the Kavach initiative of the railways, which helps to reduce or overcome the accidents. Now, these are the solutions and these are the same problems. Now, while mentioning about any kind of article on the railways, in the economic point of view, you need to have these particular values and also why railways is being chosen as the mode of transport and the main structural problems that are being present and the solutions. We can also add some of the solutions like making the public-private partnership more accessible. So, in order to get proper investments and also make the railways in proper working ratio and profits, we need to increase the public-private partnerships in the railways. So, this is the one of the best alternative with respect to working of efficiency of railways by reducing the expenditure, by reducing the operation expenditure. This is what you need to understand from this particular newspaper article. Now, the article says that railways sees 4% growth in the freight when compared to the same corresponding month last year. So, this article is just you need to have a glance. Okay. Instead of seeing this particular news as an important thing, you need to have basic knowledge about all these kind of things. Okay. Now, let's get into next article. The next article is mentioning about a hold on AI. Now, as I already told you, leave some 3 to 4 pages in your notebook for AI especially. Why? Because this AI will be in use continuously, like in every single day. Some of the article is being discussed on with respect to AI. So just leave that, and in case of any kind of points, new points that you got in the newspaper today, just add it to there. So here, this article is mentioning about the how differences in development of AI is occurring between the global north and the global south. So, how differences are occurring between global north and the global south? Actually, this is causing the digital divide. This is causing the digital divide between both the global north and the global south. Why? Because the major reason for that, lack of abundant electricity, where global south still more dependent upon the traditional non-renewable sources of energy, and also lack of proper talent, and along with that lack of proper technological capability, because it is having high latency. So this is what the article has been highlighted, how the development of AI is causing the digital divide between global north and global south, and the main reasons that has been highlighted here. Now, the thing is that along with these particular problem, it also has highlighted one more problem. So, the another issue that has been highlighted here is that even the development of World Wide Web and also internet took almost a decade, but the speed at which AI penetrating, so the speed at which AI is penetrating is very high. So this is one more issue that has been highlighted in this particular point. So because of this increased regulations, so regulations must be increased. Regulations must be increased. So even the developed countries like USA that do not have specific conditions in order to reduce the harms that has been done by the USA. This is what has been highlighted in this particular article by mentioning about some of the issues like deep fakes. Some of the issues like deep fakes. So, as we already know, let's link it with the IR perspective. As we already know, there is a strategic divide between global north and global south in the development criteria. This development of AI must not be seen as a barrier in increasing the divide between both the countries. So this is what being highlighted in this particular article, how we should reduce the dependence, how we should bridge that gap between both global south and the global north. So for this reason, we need to mention some of the solutions, like the world needs, especially the developing countries in the global south, need partnerships with the countries in the global north in order to increase the efficiency. So partnerships, having good partnerships with that, and also developing and training of the talent people. So since India has already with large amount of the demographic dividend, we need to train the people to make India and the global south compete with the global north with respect to AI. So this is what you need to understand from this particular article. Here, the word that have been highlighted here is that lion's share, means most amount of the share with respect to AI is being present with the global north with respect to than the global south. This is what you need to understand from this particular article. Now let's get into next article. Okay. Now, the article here is mentioning about the right to a fair trial at the crossroads. Here, before understanding this article, you need to understand the basic concept called under trial. Under trial, it refers to means when a person is present in the prison solely on the basis that some case has been filed on that person without conducting proper trials, and the case is pending. The case is pending before the court. Now, the main issue is that according to the report of NCRB, National Crime Records Bureau, around 70% of the prisoners in jails suffer from these under trials, and mostly they are in the prison without having proper trial by around like 10 to 20 years, 1 or 2 decades or half decades, where these people are staying in the jails without having a proper trial period. Now, the thing is that this is the issue that has been highlighted, and the answer what you need to substantiate to this thing. Now, the main thing what it is highlighted is that here the author is mentioning about the example where two persons who has been under trial with respect to Delhi riots. So these two persons are in the prison with respect to Delhi riots without being formally found guilty. Okay, so the whether the person is guilty, whether the person has committed to a crime or not, has not been finalized yet. But still, they are spending like a decade, 2 decades, half decade in the prison. So this particular thing is against the right to personal liberty under Article 21. So under Article 21, this is against the right to personal liberty. Now, the thing is that their prime age, let's say their prime years in their life are being spent in the prison without having proper proof. So, here it is mentioning that along with this particular issue, there is one more issue that has been highlighted here, is that the interpretation of court with respect to different cases is different. So, the interpretation is not same with respect to each case. The interpretation of the court with respect to these kinds of offences are different for different kinds of people. So, there is a existence of doubt on this particular issue on the autonomy and working nature of the courts. This is what has been identified in this particular article, and it goes against the principle of proportion of innocence. So it goes against the principle of proportion of innocence. Means a person is innocent until proven guilty. So that person is innocent until he is proven as guilty. But still, even though that person is not proved as guilty, he or she is suffering from the prison. He or she is suffering in the prison because of this particular issue of the under trials. So this is what has been highlighted in this particular article, which is against their right to personal liberty under Article 21. So you need to have, so in the prelims perspective, you need to have the basic knowledge of what is meant by under trial, and in the mains perspective, you need to have knowledge about like how much around how much percentage of people are facing this issue, and also different judgments and different interpretations which is against the autonomy of the court. You should understand from this particular article. Now let's move on to next article. The next article here is usage of space oncology in order to revolutionize the cancer treatment. Now, in order to treat the cancer, especially if we have seen nowadays, the number of people who are suffering from cancer are increasing day by day. In India, around 1.87 million new cases are reported in 2026 alone. So, in the 2026 alone, around 1.87 million cases are registered in India. Now, the issue is that the treatment of cancer is very costly, and also it is highly torturous treatment, and the survival rate is also very low. So what we need is that this new option of usage of space in order to treat cancer. Is the best thing what has been highlighted in this particular article. So it is mentioning that conduction of experiments. So experiments in order to detect or also in order to discover the cancer drugs can be conducted in LEO, low Earth orbit. So whenever experiments are conducted in this particular low Earth orbit, it is free from the gravity. So it is free from the gravity, where experiments can be conducted and new kind of drugs can be discovered with respect to conduction of experiments in the low Earth orbit. So why? Because here it is mentioning about how different conduction of experiments in LEO can happen. Why? Because it will bring major changes in the cell's behavior. So whenever the experiments are conducted with respect to Leo, where gravity is absent in the space, it will bring out some changes in the behavior of the cells by reorganizing the shapes of the cancer cells. So first advantage is that reorganization of the shapes of the cancer cells, and also it causes changes in the membrane behavior. So the cells will behave differently. So the behavior of the cells is different. So this is how we can mention about the advantages of space technology with respect to cancer treatment. Here it has quoted about one of the drug called pembrolizumab, where USA has already conducted research in the similar way. This is how advancement that the world has been taking place, where conduction of research and experiments in the space in order to avoid the gravity, which can efficiently predict and also can discover the cancer drugs. But now this is not free of challenges. Why? Because this also presents very innumerable number of challenges. The first and foremost thing is that costly. So the process of conducting experiments in the space is very costly, and along with that it need proper collaborations and also require slots in the rockets in order to conduct experiments, and these are the challenges. But it is also mentioning about the advantages because of this particular thing. So the advantages include, instead of having high hospitalization and also torturous treatment, this can be possible in order to reduce the cancer by using the self-injection of the cancer drugs, especially at home. So this is how it will place a major impact on by reducing the hospital bills and also avoiding the difficulty in the cancer treatment. So this is what has been highlighted in this particular article. So this is the main issue that has been given, and this is the major data or fact regarding percentage of people who are suffering from cancer in the year, and also advantages or how it works, how the particular process works, and the advantages of this particular process, and also the challenges that are being faced in this particular thing. So what are the solutions in order to solve these particular challenges? That we need to have collaboration and cooperation across space sector and also health sector between different countries. So cooperation and sharing of information is the major solution in order to avoid the challenges that is being caused here. So this is what we need to understand from this particular article. Now, in the prelims perspective. So, in the prelims perspective, what we need to understand, and in the mains perspective, what we need to understand is that in the prelims perspective, you need to study about the causes of cancer and the different types of cancer. Like you need to understand about the cell behavior, like how tumors are caused, etc. So this is, and now from the mains point of view, you try to highlight the numbers, try to highlight the facts, like 1.87 million cancer cases are reported in the 2026 alone. And along with that, try to highlight the space technology. Now, advancements in the health sector where there are new opportunities. So this is what you need to highlight from the prelims and the mains point of view from this particular article. Now, let's move on to next article. The last article for today is submarine cable project linking India, Malaysia and Singapore unveiled. So here the project this is talking about the submarine project that is connecting both India, Malaysia and Singapore. Here, why this project? The main purpose of this project is that in order to provide and in order to access the demand of the growing hyperscales and also GPU infrastructure providers, especially which is used in the development of the AI, that is AI training. So the thing is that these kind of submarine cables will help in the development of new technologies, especially advancements with respect to artificial intelligence can be highlighted by this experiment. Now, the thing is that it is connecting. Now, from where it is being connected? There are especially two nodes in India. One is Machilipatnam in Andhra Pradesh and one more is that Chennai. One more is Chennai of Tamil Nadu. So, these are the two nodes indirectly also linking to Hyderabad and connecting to Malaysia and the Singapore. Now, this is the news what we need to understand. Now, in the prelims point of view, what we need to study from this particular article is that here, this particular thing is in news. So, you need to study about the significance of Machilipatnam port. Why? Because this Machilipatnam port acted as a major trading port with respect to Kakatiyas. So, it is one of the major port with respect to Kakatiyas, and also both Dutch and also British have their factories established, have their trade factories established at the Machilipatnam. And in the art and culture perspective, you need to mention about Kalamkari textiles which are being famous in the Machilipatnam region. And the river which is being highlighted here is that Krishna River. So, Krishna River is at the mouth. So, this is what you need to understand from the Machilipatnam point of view, especially this particular article, Port Machilipatnam. Now, in the mains perspective, you can link it with the GS2, where India is developing relationships with the East, global East, with respect to Malaysia and Singapore, and also you can quote it in the GS3 with respect to advancements in the field of the science and technology. Advancements in fields of the science and technology, especially artificial intelligence. So, this is what you need to understand. Now, along with that, there are some of the other submarine links that has already developed, that is India and Asia submarine and also India and Europe submarine cable. So, both India and Asia submarine cable and India and Europe submarine cable. So, try to collect some of the examples like this where you can enhance in your answer writing. So, this is what we need to understand from this particular article. So, in today's class, we have seen about article on artificial intelligence and also linking submarine cables between India, Singapore, Malaysia. Along with, we have seen the advancements in the treatment and drug discovery of the cancer by using the LEO, low Earth orbit. And majorly, the article we have seen today is relationship between the India and Japan on the eve of the visit of Japanese Prime Minister to India, and we have also detailed studied about the problems that are being faced by the Indian Railways. So, these are the articles which are important for today's paper, and also try to highlight. I have given two words which we can extract from the article. So, try to highlight those particular words also in your article. So, this is for today's newspaper analysis. Please like, share and subscribe to VAYU IAS Academy, and thank you.